Excellent. These are my slides. This is my microphone. We're done. Hey, hello. Okay, I want to get a bit more philosophical than in my normal talks. I'm normally giving technical talks with lots of fluffy animals. And I thought today I want to take the opportunity here to talk about some gaps that I find in the market. As a bit of a background, I work for Microsoft now as a program manager. I was in Mozilla until half a year ago. I was at Yahoo before. I was at 42 conferences in 27 countries last year. So I gave a new talk at every one of them, a catered talk to the conference, got to know different audiences, and I have quite a good insight of what we're doing here. And this clicker isn't working. Hello? Can you move on? The clicker isn't working. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. The web isn't good for us. The web has been this wonderful thing that we have gotten as a gift. It's independent of hardware, it's independent of software, it's independent of ability and location. And we all would not be here if the internet didn't exist. First of all, we wouldn't have learned about this conference. Second of all, we probably wouldn't have had a job. I started my first website in 1996. I worked as a radio journalist back then, and I realized that everybody in radio over the age of 30 is an alcoholic or unhappy or both. So I thought I'd use the internet where I can publish worldwide without any problems, and people can actually reach my stuff. And I wanted to give my whole energy to keeping this open, wonderful thing alive. And I've done that the last few years. If you move on. This is going to be awful. Yeah. No, it's an amazing, yeah, I have to wave or something, so you have to move to the next one. It's an amazing idea and an offer. We got access to information worldwide, 24/7. Move on. Just show them all. We're independent of hardware, stop. We're independent of hardware, software, ability, and geographical location. And it's a read-write medium. Everybody invited on the web is invited to become a publisher and not only a consumer. And we've forgotten this. People had blogs, people had like their own little websites, people even had their GeoCity sites, which of course was a wide idea of what creativity is meant to be and what beautiful fonts mean. But we had them, we did them. Nowadays we send each other little screenshots of TV shows and think this is humorous. We regurgitate what the mainstream media does for us and put it on the web and consider it the new media. We've forgotten that we have a voice on the web that nobody can control or tries to all the time but fails all the time. And in some places this means the only voice that they have, that the government controls from them. If you move on. Because one person's beauty is another one's worry. Move on, 3 of them. It's hard to build software and interfaces for the unknown. It's like people love to build things for the unknown. I've got my computer with my build script, with that much RAM and this resolution, I can build a great application. On the web, you have no idea what people are using. You have no right to control what people are using. And for most developers, this sounds weird, but I love it. I love that challenge. I love not knowing what my end users are doing because they come up with use cases that I don't know. And I want to build for the unknown. I don't want to build for one operating system in one mobile phone that costs a lot of money in one country. This is boring. This is terrible. I want to build for the world. Open distribution, caching, and availability of source code is anathema to content providers. When I talked about HTML5 games on Firefox OS, everybody was like, oh my God, people can see my source code. Yeah, you change your game every week, so they have to steal your source code every week and code along with you. This is not the way to protect your stuff. People will take your things away, but photographers were always coming up to me like, how can I protect my photos online? Well, put them on a memory stick, leave them on your desk. Don't put them online because online I can make a screenshot. I love that iTunes, for example, doesn't allow me to take screenshots of movies. You know, you try to make a screenshot of a movie and you get like a checkerboard instead of the frame of the movie. Do they think that you shoot a movie frame by frame and then stitch it together again and make a pirated copy, or why is that? You know, I love finding mistakes in movies and making screenshots of that, and people would probably watch the movie after I send it out on Twitter. We forgot to find a way to monetize the web, though. It was all hippie, techno-hippie horse shit in the beginning, if you think about it. It's like, let's distribute everything worldwide. Everybody's free, everybody shares, nobody wants to make money with that, everybody's going to pay us because we're awesome. And then we went to the only thing we had, which was advertising, which was 400 years old already at that time, and then we put it on the web. And out of a sudden, we realized something is not working. Excellent. We broke the web. We absolutely and utterly broke the web. We move on. Hmm. 15 seconds. This is the average time a page needs to load nowadays on a normal connection. These are 15 awkward seconds that I felt like a complete ass right now, and you were like, what's going on? And this is, if you go on, this is a research that they just found out. 15 seconds is how long it takes the page to be interactive, and 5.5 seconds is how long it takes to load. And that's the median page. This is not the worst ones out there. The worst ones are like up to 30, 50, whatever minutes, these kind of things. It's 2 megabytes in size and contains 170 resources. That's like saying we didn't do any performance talks or trainings or anything ever in the last 5 years. Most sites fail to take advantage of core image optimization techniques. People just upload massive images, sometimes raw images or bitmap files. And you're like, oh God, this is terrible. And they could, oh God, we got an iPad. We got to have the retina display of our boss's picture instead of just making people, giving you access to the service your website provides. And most sites to fail take advantage of core image optimization techniques. And the biggest problem is a lot of times advertising and social buttons. Little libraries, things that we put on the page because they're easier to use with JavaScript. HTML and CSS would never block the loading and the interaction. JavaScript blocks the interaction when we do it wrong. Move on. So what can we do? Move on. We have the technology, we can patch it. AdBlock Plus. Everybody here is probably using AdBlock Plus because we're clever. We're not these stupid people that click on ads, you know, the ones that pay our wages. You know? AdBlock Plus just got bought by an investor, an unknown investor. You know, it's not anywhere known, and nobody knows who bought them. Could be the Russian mafia, could be like the Triads, could be like Yakuza, or worse, Fox News. You know? We thought we're clever, we're blocking the internet and making our internet better, and by that we just made advertising more aggressive. And that's the problem with that. The more you block, the more aggressive they get. And then we find other technical solutions for that problem. We have, for example, Facebook Instant Articles, or we have Google's AMP project, the accelerated mobile pages, or we have Apple News. All of these things are great technology solutions. All of these things solve the problem of advertising being too slow. Especially AMP is open source. It's a nice idea. It's a bit like a mixture of web and RSS. And it gives us like the 3-second, 60 frames per second things that we want to have. But the problem is, it replaces the open web. It is an alternative view of the content that should be on the bloody internet. They want to reach millions of people. But then they show them too many ads, so people get annoyed. So we should solve the problem of showing too many ads. Finding better ways to monetize, finding better ways to make money on the web and allow us to show us advertising that makes sense and not is just like the things we never want to see. I don't understand how Facebook shows me some of the ads that I see where I'm like, I'm a fashionable person, I would pay money for nice clothing, but they show me things that I just want to scratch my eyes out. And then button like, oh, didn't you like that ad? Yeah, I want to click on every ad, not that I didn't like it, you know? And all of these things are open, yes, fair enough, but they're still maintained by one company. And this is not what the web is about. I don't want to publish where one company controls what I'm doing. I don't want to publish where one government controls what I'm doing. I want to publish on the bloody internet. I want to be out there. Power applied in a crooked way. This is in the parking garage in the Microsoft office. I didn't find any pictures, so I just took a lot of them. We take the power of controlling the internet and we push people into channels that we control. In Africa, there's places where I've been where people think Facebook is the internet because the only thing they can reach is Facebook because there's phones that have Facebook pre-compiled on it and no other access to any other website. They only access Facebook, they access Facebook, the internet through the Facebook browser, so there's a lot of opportunity to basically block things, to take political statements out, to basically cut down on people's freedom of speech. And this is the only way that people can access the internet, so people control it that way. We move on. There's a disconnect. This is my street when I get into in London, and it's quite fun because I only cycle, so I don't care. But everybody who tries to get to me by car is basically connected there. Development is still seen as magic, and that's my mom would never understand what I'm doing. I wrote a book, so she has something physical to show people, so she stops calling me. And people find problems on the internet and always blame themselves. I mean, in user testing, you see database errors, and people say like, oh, I must have done something wrong. You cannot do anything wrong to cause a database error unless you do a SQL injection or something like that, which is then the technical people again. But people see it still as magic and don't understand and are a bit scared of it and don't want to talk to us. And we, on the other hand, we internalize that. We realize we're not social people. It was quite fun when GitHub came up. We're a social network for developers. Well, good luck with that. But worked out really well. If you go on. And is magic might? Yeah, I've been at the Harry Potter studios, as you can see. Is magic might? Is technology something we should use to cut down on people's technology access, like building a better, faster internet, rather than talking to the ad providers and say like, okay, your ads are shit. How about we make them better? You know, instead we come up with better solutions, better technical solutions. We do that as developers as well. We're spoiled for choice and connected as developers. This is me debugging some Firefox devices at home, and I got an iOS device there, I got 5 mobile phones, I've got extra hard drives, I've got my laptop, I've got all these cool things. I'm connected 24/7, and I use it to send cat pictures to each other. And in the past, people were just like, some people would kill for internet access, and we just get very tired of when it's not really fast because we're in another country or something like that. You find cafes where they do laptop-free zones now. They don't allow you to bring your laptop because everybody goes in there and works or serves Facebook or something like that instead of buying coffee and getting out again and having conversations with other people. Well, they do, but over the internet, not in the cafe. We have one-track minds. We find a technical solution for something that is sweet and we want to do it. And we will find a technical solution for everything instead of a social solution, instead of understanding that the internet cannot be free anymore. We want everything on the internet to be free, everything to be available, and nobody should pay for anything. This doesn't work. There's an old saying that the only thing that's free is death, and that costs your life. And other than that, everything will cost some money somewhere. So the whole idea of us wanting everything for free on the internet is as stupid as the advertiser saying you have to pay for everything. And we find technical solutions for everything in open technology and in JavaScript as well. And we have fancy, beautiful things. We got these MacBook Pros. We've got these remote controls that work. We've got mobile phones that have several cores in them. We've got internet connectivity. When I was in Sweden, I had 4 gigabit at home. In London, I've got a 250 megabit for $30 a month. And that's just, you know, amazing. When I had my first 56K connection, I was like, nobody will ever need something faster. And then I see this now, and then like, oh my God, it's so slow. It takes like 2 hours to get a video. And we have our tooling as well. We've got JavaScript libraries, we've got build blocks, we've got building tools, we've got our IDEs. We have all these beautiful things that we want to use and we're very, very excited about. And we plug more and more of them in. We put a JavaScript library in there to make sure that Internet Explorer 8 is not bad anymore. Then we put another in there so we can actually use local storage right now across devices. Then we put another one in there that we make CSS animations in JavaScript because CSS animation is not supported by everybody. And we put more and more things on the web. And it works, but it is flimsy because lots of small fixes take up a large space as well. The more libraries we use, the more helper tools we use, the more we make our stack more complex to reach a website. That makes up those 2 megabytes. That makes up those 115 resources. And all of it because of developer convenience. We should avoid complexity. This is the toilet in the Japanese lounge in Frankfurt. And this is the instructions how to use the bathroom. And it kind of, when I go on the web right now and I want to learn JavaScript, it feels a bit like that as well. And people are like, I go to the terminal, install this NPM module with that compiler and that node install, and then you can write a hello world in JavaScript. Because it's more effective and we have better tools. Get tooling. So if you scroll this through, this is a checklist of starting a new open JavaScript library. These are all the steps that you have to do. You know, if I started JavaScript nowadays, I probably wouldn't do it. I see job interview questions after written 8 JavaScript books and working on 3 browsers. I wouldn't be able to answer those things. We get very excited. We make technology a religion, and we make, with all the dogma and the fighting that comes with that, and we get very excited about putting more and more complex things in there because more tools make us more effective. Maybe if we build simpler things, we wouldn't need that many tools and people would be happier. Complexity is scary. This is my dentist in London, and I don't know why I'm going there. But yeah, when I tell people you need these 15 steps to write your first JavaScript, people are going to go to iOS and be happy in their little closed world and where everything works for them. And they make money immediately because everybody on iOS spends a lot of money on your app. And you will be successful and a millionaire in 3 days. That's the pitch, I guess. But people are scared of it. The web we deserve, and that open web, that idea of Tim Berners-Lee, that the beautiful web is not here yet, and we gave it up. We turned the web into a lifestyle magazine that spies on us. And we made it in our image, which is obese and lazy. You know, we put the same layouts everywhere, and we call it like, oh, a parallax thing, that's the new thing this month. No, next month it has to look like that. Everything looks like Bootstrap, and then we call it innovation, and in the footer we put like made with love in this city. Lately I worked exclusively in fixing one massive issue for the web, killing Internet Explorer. That's what Microsoft promised me, and we're on the way. Microsoft Edge is the out-of-the-box browser. It's an evergreen browser. It's a wonderful browser, much like in comparison with all the others that we have out there. And then we realized we messed up. We built a browser with an HTML5 engine that supports ES6, that does everything right, and then we send it out on the web, and we got this. We got a version for Safari, we got a version for Firefox, and Edge got the Internet Explorer 6 experience, which is the please kill yourself before you find a button experience. Because people test for browsers. They test if it's a Safari, and then they give you a wonderful experience, and everything else gets a terrible experience. We as developers messed this up terribly. We had to put so many aliases into the browser, same in Chrome, same in Firefox, that actually experimental technology in Safari that wasn't finished yet had to be repeated in all the other browsers not to break the web. And that makes the web slow as well, because people use experimental technology in production. Experimental means experimental. That's when people die and poisonous gases come out of things. Don't put them in production. It's 2015, and it's still all about browsers. This is the Mozilla office in Toronto. It's quite fun. We're still thinking in browsers. I now talk about people about Edge. You know, like Edge is compatible to other browsers. Compatibility is the idea, and you don't need to know about the browser any longer. If you write for Chrome, it runs in Edge. And everybody's like, oh, can I get Edge for OS X as well? I want to have every browser on my computer. Browsers should not be the case anymore. Browsers should compete on the interface, not on the engine. And we still think like, oh, we built for browsers. We check if it's one browser or another, and we give it different environments. Check for capabilities. Don't test for browsers, please. And if you do test for browsers, assume that unknown browsers are good and not terrible. Because otherwise you bring new browsers, always the first terrible experience. And then people go to native apps instead. Compatibility is the main point that we're doing here, and every browser is doing the same thing. Chrome is very much on the case, Firefox as well. Safari, the Safari team are lovely people. They're just not allowed to speak in public. You don't see them at events much, but they have lots of good stuff in there. And I love this, like, are we not testing against Edge? There's a no bug tracked against it. Well, we're testing, but there's no bug found, because we built the thing compatible. So don't worry about Edge, worry about standards, worry about using new technology, new functionality. It's decision time right now, and there is no maybe. There's a yes or a no. And I think it's time we stood up and fought for the open web that was so good for us, and make sure that we don't lose it. Trying to match closed environments with open is exhausting. We cannot match what an iOS does, because an iOS is done for one operating system on one piece of hardware in one distribution model. They control everything. Trying to match that with an open thing means you make a bad open thing. Technology is a journey. It's not that we have right now a state of mind. You have to be open to new changes all the time. And I'm losing a lot of time here because I can't click. But that's why I'm almost over time. Can we move on in the journey? So let's analyze and clean up. This is a scanner that you can run through your website right now that tells you where you're doing things wrong, where you're testing for one browser only, where you're using accessibility the wrong way, where you don't have alternative text for images, where you have videos without a transcription, where you have problems in usability of your users out there. So if we move on, put the web on a diet. One outdated library at a time. Find those old libraries with that scanner tool and replace them with the newest ones and have a process to keep them up to date, because old browser libraries, old helper libraries are the landfill of the web, and they stop us from innovating browsers and making them better. Think users and interfaces first and technology second. These are the guidelines of the government right now. The US government has design guidelines. And these will be enforced in government websites. Thank you. I don't want to see these things that look like SharePoint dropouts from 1997. I want to see beautiful things, and that one is based on what Bootstrap does, has good CSS, has good JavaScript, all the things in there. Humans are better than machines. We're all about machine learning and cool things. Outlook told me the other day that it can be only one instance of lunch at a day. That's not how humans work. I mean, seriously. Or when you got these robots where they make the self-walking robots and you always kick them to prove how good they are, they're going to remember that. When the robot takeover is going to happen, they're going to see these footage and come up to us and say, do you see what you did? We will never have full control over our users, and that's great. That's how the web was defined. This is how we built the web. The next challenge is not in coffee shops in San Francisco. It's not the kids with the coolest, newest iPad that just came out. This part of the world that we just got away, is where everything happens. Every single one of these countries has a positive GDP, has more money than we have here right now, and real money, not the money that you send to each other in the Silicon Valley to companies. These are also billions and billions of people that are not online yet, but they will come online and they will be important to us, and they will need websites that work, simple ones, HTML, CSS, a bit of JavaScript after testing that it can be applied. Not like, here's a spinner for 15 seconds because I want to show you a parallax page. State of the Browser, Bruce Lawson in London gave a really good talk about this, so if you want to look through that, these slides are available online already as well. There's lots of information on this about where the next growth of the internet is happening, and it's not where we are, it's not with the technology that we use, it's a new, beautiful, wonderful challenge of thousands and millions of voices that want to go online and can go online if we help them, if we block them out and tell them, not available in your country, we're not better than the film industry. Let's make what we can control better. Let's make the websites that we have out there better and cleaner. Developers and browser makers should be friends, not competitors. We should not build JavaScript libraries to fix browser technology that's not in browsers yet. That is stupid. That is a waste of time, because every browser maker now is open to innovation and open to discussion. Even we have a Twitter account. Even we have code on GitHub. And that's the evil Death Star from the past. We're all available for you to talk to, and we need your information to build good things. Browsers are the outlines and the tools. It's your job to color them in. It's your job to use your technology to build proper things with them and build things for capabilities, not for browsers themselves. Please go and make a better web. This is really cool. Analyze the speed of your product. Webpagetest.org gives you a video of how bad your website performs. It gives you like a checklist to go through what you can fix. Stop trying to guess what a browser is and use and assume unknown browsers to be good, not terrible. User agent sniffing is useless. These things are unreadable. It's a pack of lies is the user agent string, as we called it. Keep up to date with what browsers can do. caniuse.com is a great website to show you what is currently in browsers, and try using it. Play with it. Use it for your good. Find user interface designs that need them and not just like, oh, I want to use it because I want to use it. File bugs, report issues, and talk to us. The bug reported directly to the browser makers is the one that gets fixed. The bug reported on Twitter causes a hailstorm of people and like pitchforks and fire and stuff, but nothing comes out of it. File the bug, get it fixed. You make the web, let us hear what you need. All of you here are great and work in production companies that I don't know. I'm tired of hearing Silicon Valley kids in their startups complaining that they can't use the coolest, newest thing, why there's terrible websites out there where I sign up for an insurance or I try to get public transport. I want every website to be beautiful and not just the ones that push the envelope, because the envelope is flying away right now. It's flying away into a closed environment or a rubbish bin. Please make something beautiful and keep the open web alive the way it is right now. And that's all I had. Thank you very much.